certainly we have this emergency. It's going to happen. So what can environmental health do as far as waiving regulations or doing things to make it easier for, like if a neighbor has a good well and he can actually supply 2 or 3 houses with a roll of plastic pipe to put water to their facilities, what can we do? I realize there's regulations that don't allow that. What can environmental, and I realize it kind of caught you off guard here, but.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
But I really feel there's some local regulations that we can do within the county that may, because when a house that's got 4 or 5 kids there runs out of water, it's probably no greater crisis. So are there any things, or could we just direct you to look into and maybe report back on that?
Yeah, in environmental health, we like to see ourselves as basically solution-oriented problem solvers. The regulations kick in if the water system is treating more than 5 units, or I should say providing water to more than 5 units. Under that, I don't know if there are any requirements per se, but it's something that we can look into.
Yeah. Could we just direct you to come back in the near future with basically a report from environmental health of things that you may be able to do, all the way from allowable people to haul water to tying into existing wells and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, with that, we're going to move to public expression. We have Rosalind Peterson first. Rosalind, followed by Bill Kohler.
Hello, my name is Rosalind Peterson, and I provided all of you with a packet earlier today about weather modifications ongoing in the state of California. And one of the things that's coming at us without much public knowledge and no public notification is that the state of California has over 20 weather modification programs ongoing throughout the state of California. These programs are growing exponentially each year as more and more counties find themselves in drought situations. So cities, counties, PG&E, private citizens, private individuals, anyone can implement a weather modification program for any benefit within the state of California, and there's no oversight agency within the state of California, and there's no requirement for public notification. I provided the spreadsheet from the State Department of Commerce for all of the programs that they list, although there was no requirement for private individuals who modify the weather to notify the U.S. Department of Commerce. In addition to these programs, what is happening is that there are detrimental effects. If you change the weather in one county, it can have a detrimental effect in reducing the rainfall and or snowpack in a nearby county. And this has been happening throughout the western states. There are water fights about these weather modification programs ongoing in not only Northern California with a new SISCU program to be implemented this year, and also in Southern California where there's been floodings when they implemented a weather modification program in their area. Without any rules or regulations, these programs, when we do have storm fronts hitting California, could divert needed watershed water and could divert needed rainfall from our county by raining out the systems in other counties and in nearby areas. And since there is no government regulation on the number, the scope, many programs can modify at one time 184,000 square miles, which is larger than the state of California in square miles. And the impact of these programs can be devastating to nearby states and also to our county. I have brought this information to Congressman Thompson's office. He is aware of these programs. But also we need to know that if any weather fronts are coming, other counties and cities and private corporations, PG&E and other individuals can rain out the snow, enhance the snow in other areas, enhance the rainfall in other areas, and dry us out. And these weather modification programs are so numerous that Mendocino County sooner or later will be impacted. So one of the things I would like to say, especially now that we're in a drought year, is that some of these programs could already be affecting us, and that we need to get In other words, find out how these programs are impacting us, how many programs have been implemented just in the past year, because I know of 2, and I suspect that there are more, because when I was on Channel 2 last year with regard to their investigation, they found up to 30 programs, which was more than I thought that there were. And in addition to these weather modification programs, with private individuals able to modify your weather for private gain. In other words, the public benefit, and not to the public benefit, we need to address those issues, and they are not by any California state law or federal law. Last thing I'd like to say is that current federal legislation, the Climate Security Acts, are going to be introduced by Senator Barbara Boxer and also by Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, a weather mitigation modification bill. And this legislation allows for the proliferation of weather modification programs and experiments without public consent, oversight, or notification to any public or private, or in other words, any public agency. And that with California being in a case of where we have no government agencies with oversight here, this would mean that these programs could be implemented by any experimental program without our knowledge or consent. So I'm concerned about water issues in Mendocino County, and this is one of the areas that I think is very important. I was a keynote speaker in 2007 at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change. I have an updated PowerPoint presentation from that presentation which talked about the detrimental effects of these programs on agriculture. And so I would be happy to answer any questions or present any of this information to you at any time in the future, but I hope that you will consider, in other words, taking a look at these programs and how they impact Mendocino County and our watersheds and our water supplies in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Kohler?
Good morning, Bill Kohler, General Manager, Redwood Valley Water. I primarily just want to give you an update on what Redwood is doing. As you know, we're a dual system. We have both irrigation water and domestic water. A couple articles, there were the PD and the UDJ last week, and our irrigation customers who are currently sitting on empty ponds all decided to fill their ponds over the weekend. We have a 60,000 acre foot forebay that was emptied over the weekend. We basically had to shut down our irrigation customers, ask them to...
No, a
6,000.
Okay, I was going to say not a 60,000.
Sounded good for a minute there. We asked them to shut down voluntarily, which they did, so that we can recover our storage for our domestic customers. We can only pump 17 acre feet a day. We went through our records to identify how many acre feet of irrigation storage there is in Redwood Valley, and the numbers are about 750 acre feet. So it would take us 50 days of exclusive pumping just to fill the reservoirs, which are largely empty at this time. So as of this morning, we have confirmed that our drought ordinance is in effect as of last November. We're going to continue on with that. We're going to stress that we need to get 50% voluntary reduction from our domestic customers. We're going to try that for a month. If it doesn't work, we're going to go to 100 gallons a day mandatory with severe restrictions. We're currently canvassing all of our irrigation customers. We cannot fill all their ponds at once. We're going to try to stage 15 acre feet a day, going to individual customers. We'll be opening individual valves to try to fill their lines, but we've informed them that they're basically getting one pond load. There will be nothing for irrigation later in the summer. They need to make their own decision about whether they want to use frost control or irrigation water. A lot of our customers don't have ponds, but as you know, we've got about 2,000 acres of premium wine grapes that are going to take a severe financial hit. We are working with our customers. We do expect to go to 100 gallons per day, supplied in part through an intertie if we can get the cooperation of the greater Ukiah Valley, supplied by pumping out of